Now, tell me about the importance of your involvement in this campaign, and what did it mean to you personally?
We want to lend our voices to something larger than us. And we totally understand that HIV and AIDS is not being discussed enough. It's not being, so once it's not being discussed, the fear goes down. And once the fear goes down, then, you have more unprotected sex. Because people aren't afraid of getting it because they think it's kind of like not happening. And so I want, my fan base, especially because they're so young and they're so impressionable right now, I want to mold it into their brains to always protect yourself every single time or abstain. There's nothing wrong with abstaining. And also buy a lipstick, buy a lip conditioner, and help people that have HIV and AIDS right now. They're suffering. So MAC is giving back in terms of medication, in terms of food, in terms of shelter. And,
Awareness.
And yeah.
Awareness.
So we that's why we're excited about it, because it has nothing to do with music and all that stuff. It's just about life, human, people, helping.
Yeah, the way I see it, like, I've been an activist for many years. I've been trying to do my best to create awareness on human trafficking. Human trafficking, every social issue is interconnected. In human trafficking, there is HIV/AIDS, and in human trafficking, there are children that are being affected by HIV/AIDS. So Viva Glam has given me another platform to talk about a very important issue, human trafficking and AIDS. 66 countries are being benefited by this amazing campaign. People are talking about it, and we're going to make a lot of noise for a whole year. And that's the most beautiful thing, yeah, I think.
And how has HIV/AIDS personally affected either one of you all?
I have an uncle that died of it, and he was actually a police officer. No one expected it. He was like the last person anyone would, and that's the point. That's just the point. But he was in Trinidad, and so it's very important for me to go back to Trinidad. That was one of the things that I spoke to Mac about. They were like, they want to launch this in the Caribbean islands, and I want to do that. I want my country and all the other Caribbean islands to feel like, hey, this is not something that should only be discussed in the United States. This is something that's killing so many people everywhere. And I want to help, and hopefully because I'm from Trinidad, maybe they'll connect to it more.
You should go carnivals right now.
I wish I could go right now. I wish I could go right now.
Bring us all to carnivals.
Oh, amazing. Well, I believe that we are all living with HIV/AIDS until we find the cure. And it's time to talk about it. It's time to be raw. It's time to think about those souls that are not with us anymore because of this virus. And let's be serious about it. And once again, Viva Glam Mac is doing a very beautiful job, and we're honored to be part of this. Let's keep talking.
Now let's talk Grammys for a minute. The
Yes,
performance
sir.
stirred up a little controversy. I know people from the Roman Catholic Church were upset and whatever. What would you
know
say
what?
to them?
I've been doing theater my whole life. I've been doing theater. So I'm confused because you're about to do a musical, right?
Yeah, I'm doing.
So if he was doing in his musical, if he does a scene with a church, is that blasphemous? I'm confused. What I do is art. If you go and look at a painting and they have something that is, seems a little offensive, it's still art. I am painting a picture, and if you don't like it, you don't have to look. But would never be purposely offensive to anyone. Like, that's the last thing I want to do. But I want to get people away from ridiculing people because they're different, and that's the point. Roman is a character that has, first of all, he's been around for over 2 years, and he, I'm writing a script, and in this script, even his own mother ridicules him, and just because he's different. And I just want people to stop. Let people be them. Know what you're not God. Just embrace people and love them, and that's all it is. And that's what I'm going to continue to do. I stand firmly behind my Grammys performance because I wrote it, and when I wrote the script, I wrote Roman in a monastery, and that's what I created. I'm not going to write it in a monastery and do a performance in a circus. The story had to be told. Just like when you go and see the Exorcism, when you go and see The Devil Inside, it's a movie.
Now
We're all lucky to be Americans.
I know it. I know it.
We
Let's
can
talk
express
Evita
ourselves
for a
the way
minute.
we want to.
Right.
When can we expect you in Evita? How are you enjoying it?
Man, Evita is one of the most beautiful projects I've been. March 12th, we start previews, and I'm becoming Che little by little. I'm surrounded by the producer, the director, the choreographer, and an amazing cast. To be part of the Broadway community is an honor, and it's going to be a very interesting year.
And Whitney Houston, we just lost an icon. Where were you when you found out about it? How has it affected you?
I was in a hotel in Los Angeles, and it's ironically, I was asked by Clive Davis to do that party, and I said, you know what, I don't want to perform because I'm rehearsing for the Grammy performance, and I just want to give that my all. And it hits home because, like I said before, I have a very special bond to Whitney's first album and all of her albums, but especially the first album, because when I came from Trinidad, I would spend the weekends with my aunt, my favorite aunt in the world, my mom's sister, and she had like the real record player at that time with the thing, that you move, and she would play Whitney's album, so we sang it. And you know what? One day I wanted to ask Whitney to sing at my wedding. You know this. You know the song. She's hold me in your arms tonight. That I was like, I have to have her to sing it. And a friend of mine bumped into her at the airport. Maybe I think a week or 2 weeks before she passed, and she said, "Give Nicki my love." I didn't even know she knew who I was. So when I saw that, I was just like, oh my goodness, sometimes you just need to reach out to people when they're alive, because she's so iconic, and she is the voice. She is the voice. There's nothing will ever compare, and it will affect us, I think, for the rest of our time here on Earth, that she's not here.
Whitney's voice will always be with us. Her soul will seduce us. Her magic will never die.
And lastly, Simon's looking for new judges for X Factor. If he asks either one of you guys, I was just in LA and I've heard both of the names.
Oh, really?
Would you consider it? Is that a yes?
That's interesting.
Yes, no, maybe so. Quite silent. Ooh. What about you, Ricky?
Let's talk.
Let's talk.
Open.
You gonna talk for Nicki? Because Nicki and Ricky don't want to. Nicki doesn't want to talk anymore. Ricky.
I'll become her agent.
You become her
Yeah,
agent.
not a problem.